Alright, we're recording. Alright, welcome everyone. My name is Polly Phillips, also known as JournalArtista. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I apologize again. I've been getting lots of emails and messages. People think that they can't see my shows, but truly I haven't been on for a couple weeks. Took a little break tending to my wonderful puppy, who is a lot better now. So I imagine, or I shall say I commit, I'll be back to my regular schedule of every Wednesday and Saturday nights. So I'm so excited tonight because I am going to recreate this travel journal. This is a 6x9 journal that I made for my trip. I did a YouTube video on it. I did a lot of flips if I've seen it. But when I made this, it didn't record a couple Saturdays ago, where the recording stopped. So I'm going to make sure that it records this time, or it stays recording, I should say, and then we're going to do a cool stencil Saturday technique in the end. So I'm excited about that. So what I'm going to make the new journal, excuse me, is going to be a little Christmas one, or shall I say a December one. I dare not use the phrase December daily, because it definitely won't be daily. Well, maybe, I hope, but I'm not going to commit because it never works out quite well. So what I've done so far during a little pre-chat here is cut a pad of paper. This was a 9x12 watercolor paper pad that I just got at Michael's. It was a Canson one, I think, or something. It only had 10 sheets of watercolor paper. It was like $1 on sale, $1.10 or something. But it comes with this really heavyweight chipboard. So I've got that. It's 9x12. Sorry for the blur. I've cut it down to 6x9. So we have two, front and back cover. And then just laughing at the chat. So during the pre-chat, I cut seven sheets of watercolor paper. I guess I used 3 for something else. I'm not sure. Just folded them over. And I also had some My Mind's Eye Christmas scrapbooking paper, pattern paper from last year. My Mind's Eye's design from last year. And I just alternated a piece of scrapbook paper, a piece of watercolor paper, scrapbook paper, watercolor paper. And I'm going to make 2 signatures this time. Same over in here. I have some scrapbook paper, watercolor paper, scrapbook paper. So it's up to you whether you want to fold it inwards, the scrapbook paper, or fold it outwards. It all depends on what you want to see and how you want your book to look. For this first one, this is, I think, my favorite paper from the entire pack, which was all the numbers. So I want that to be the first page of my little art journal here. So I folded that one towards the outside. So I'm going to make 2 signatures this time. Let's cross our fingers about how we are going to sew these. But and I also put a little piece of 8x8, some old fancy pants, right in the middle of the signatures as well. So they're all ready for me for when the binding is ready. I'll fold it up. You can put whatever paper you want. And I thought I would go tonight when covering these really retro. I have a lot, of basic gray. Hi, Ketsia. And hi, Lay. Sorry, guys, just saying hello to a few people. And, back then, I used to buy at least 2 of every piece of paper. So if Basic Gray came out with a line, I'd get 2 of every one. So, sometimes more. So this is the Motifica collection. I think it might have been one of their first. Was it from their first line or second line? So anyways, it's got the damask. This is from many years ago. But I think it's got the greens, the reds. I really like the browns. I thought it was kind of Christmassy. But yet not so Christmassy. So I'm going to use that. This is going to be my front cover. So all we're going to do And when I'm covering things, you know, covering chipboard, I don't measure. You know, some people may want to measure. I just eyeball it. You know, I'll look at this and I'll say, okay, I want about an inch on each side, so I just make a mark. Or because I knew this was 6 by 9, I could cut my paper at 8 by 11. But rather than measuring, I just make a quick mark so that it's easy for me to cut. And while I'm at it, I better cut the back. The back I'm just going to use, this is one of the plain papers in the kit. So this time I will. I'll just for you wonderful people that like to see that, I'm going to go 11 by 8. That's what I said, right? Yeah, 11 by 8. It's going to be my back cover. And the other print, this print of paper is going to be the inside covers. Okay. Which I shall cut later. I'm all messed up. Got me all messed up. Okay. Back to this. And as soon as we stop using white, my camera will regain focus. There we go. So I'm looking at some nice vermilion ink there. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can glue your cover when you're covering something like this. I like to use two-faced tape because it's quick and easy. You can absolutely use some glue. You can brush it on. You can use your score tape if you're a scrapbooker and have that type of stuff. I use this carpet tape from the hardware store because it's really sticky and really easy. It covers all at once and it's a lot cheaper than your score tape. May or may not be archival safe, but I don't kind of worry about that. A signature is a group of pages, exactly, that are going into your book. Definitely not archival. Oh, thanks, Kat. That's so sweet. Hi, Darcy. So what I'm gonna do, and sometimes you just gotta be careful. This is my back cover, but if you you don't have to be careful when you're doing the outside covers about, you know, whether you're going up or down direction, but definitely when you start putting your inside covers on, you might have to worry about direction. I don't know where I got these like kitchen scissors, but I can't seem to find my oh yeah, the ones. Oh boy. So I'm just going to cut the corners off here, leaving it about almost half an inch, maybe only a quarter of an inch on all four sides. And we're going to do this twice. So I'm cutting a chicken. And any, you know, look, this is perfect. If you've got a bottle of paint, I don't even have one close. Maybe if, that's probably why I have it. Those old making memory bottles I couldn't open. Anytime you gotta like, you can, you know, it's not big enough for my gel medium jar, but anyway, I'm just teasing. So what I'm gonna do is just take my bone folder and score along the edges of where my chipboard, just using my chipboard as a guide. This is just kind of going to help your paper, especially if you're using some pattern paper, you know, or maybe your own pattern paper. It's going to help it fold over just a little bit more, a little bit easier. So I like to do the large size first, and large sides first. This time I am going to use my score tape here, just because it's easy. If my ATG was threaded, I would use that, but at this time it is not. You could also use some white glue, some bookbinding glue. If you really wanted archival, you can use your PVC stuff. Just putting it down. My ears are burning? Why, what's wrong? What were you blown away with, Darcy? I miss everything. Oh, no drinking and arting for me today. Okay, so now I've got this tape down, and we've got fluoride. There we go. Now I've got the big sides, the longer sides taped down. I'm just going to fold it here. Now a lot of people will say I did it wrong. It's all about the type of binding, the type of corner that you like. Some people would fold, I'll show you on the other one, some people fold the corners in first and then wrap it. But I like the look of this way. So it's completely, I don't like seeing that little diagonal thing. So when I fold it up this way, it looks more of a, this type of corner. But I know a lot of people like to fold the four corners in first and then fold the flaps. But totally up to you. And if that sounds a little bit confusing, I'll show you on the next, on the other cover. Oh, Darcy. Did you get it in the mail? Excuse me, my eye is itchy. Oh, again, I just score it against the chipboard there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Just to help it fold over and make something crisp. Hi, Lisa Lou. This is what they call score tape. A lot of scrapbookers use it. Made in Korea. It's actually called sukwang. But you'll see people call it score tape. If you buy it online, you can also, if you don't want to get it online, you can use the red stuff that you get at Michael's, the two-faced tape, the red, what we call red tape. A lot of scrapbookers like this type because you can rip it, where the red score tape you have to cut it off the roll. But if you just have carpet tape, I mean, I could have just sat there the entire time and cut up my carpet tape or use glue. Alright. See, this is what I was talking about, the direction of the paper. When I cut this, I wasn't paying attention. So now my cover is going to be, the damask pattern is going to be left to right rather than upside down. Rather than up and down. So I'm going to cover this one again. Couple strips. Will I add paint to the cover? Absolutely, Darcy. I didn't add too much to the cover of my travel journal. And I like how it gets a little bit, you know, when I used it, oh my screensaver there, when I used it, there's a little bit of paint on the edges, and Dee Dee gave me this chipboard, but there's different little bits of paint and stuff, so it all depends on how I feel. But I was actually thinking, which is not my technique that I'm stenciling tonight, but my stencil Saturday technique, but I was thinking of using some molding paste and push it through a stencil, one of my damask stencils, just because I love texture, I love feeling it. Hi Janet. Hi Susan. Alright, so again, cut my edges for about 1/4 of an inch with my kitchen scissors here. Oh boy, I won't live these down. So a lot of people, instead of, you know, cutting the edges like I did here, they would fold it over on each side without being, before it was cut. Fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, glue them down, and then fold the main panels. And you'll get that. Most books, like if you look at an old hardcover book, they're wrapped like that. But I prefer the square edges like this. It's all up to how you want to do it. So again, I'm going to just score the edges of the chipboard, or the paper beside the chipboard. They're poultry shears. That's like more the traditional way to do the corners like that. It's all about the visual that you like. Alright. Hi Kathleen. Is Barb writing another book? So hopefully, you know, my intention of making this little... Why is it going so blurry tonight? Weird. There we go. I'm moving too fast. Hopefully is to get me into doing some art again. It's really strange for me to go, you know, more than 2 days without arting, but going 2 weeks without doing anything is, yeah, not good. Not good for the soul. For my soul, anyways. Wonderful, Barb. Alright, so I'm just scoring my ends here to make a nice crisp fold there. You know, and to cover these, you can use the same technique if you wanted to use fabric, or, you know, paper that you've made, or canvas. I mean, it's really endless of how you want to cover your little books here. Barb, our wonderful friend Barb already has written a book about caring for elderly relatives. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Thanks, Linda. I got a package all ready for you, actually. I've been catching up with my packages. I've been really putting an effort into it, believe it or not. I was able to send I shouldn't laugh, it's actually quite shameful. But, you know, I'm trying really hard to get a whole bunch of stuff out before Christmas. Where did my trimmer go? Okay, so inside cover, because this is 6 by 9, um, because this is 6 by 9, I'm going to do 5.5, right? 5.5 by 8.5. So I can, out of this one sheet of paper here, I can get two inside covers. So 5.5. Actually, first I'm going to cut the 8.5. And then two 5.5s. It's funny because I was pouring myself some Pepsi just because I finished a big mug of coffee. So I'm like, oh, I want to have some Pepsi for my stream because I'm coffeeed out, believe it or not. I had a lot of coffee today. And Simon's like, oh, you're pouring yourself some hooch? I'm like, no, just coffee. Or just Pepsi. Yeah, this is, I mean, basic gray started it all, right? Gotta love the basic gray. Alright, so I cut these, but, so as you can see, they fit nicely, and once I ink, as you can see through the hooch. What is wrong with him? Anyway. I don't know what you called it. Hooch. So I'm going to put the binding down first, though, before we put on the covers, because if you remember, some of you that were here, see with the duct tape binding, the inside cover has covered part of it. So it just gives it a nice, neater look. So we are going to hold off on that for a minute. Now I'm working on a non-stick craft mat for my binding, because I am going to be using duct tape, and I was going to use my plain black duct tape. That is bad news. I was going to use my plain black duct tape that I bought at Michael's when I was with Dee Dee, but I've left it downstairs. Oh well. More, what is this called again? Houndstooth. I was going to say dog tooth. More dog's teeth. I'm going to use the houndstooth again. So, if you remember, when I only used the one signature of 6 pages, I had about a 1/2 inch gap. This time, because I'm putting in 2 signatures, so I'm doubling the size. You know, if you can imagine, I want to have twice that much. So, I'm going to have about an inch gap. It's not, to me, maybe I should try to do it straight this time. I gotta do it this way because I gotta try to work out an angle here. So I'm gonna put a little bit more, maybe 1.25 inches. You can get all fancy. You can measure it if you want. Maybe 1.5 inches. I don't know. Let's see how big that is. It is an inch, almost exactly 1.5 inches. Oh, I couldn't get closer if I wanted to. I am recording and it's still recording. Thanks, Susan, for reminding me. Okay, so I've got them pretty level. I mean, you can use a ruler. Try to make sure I got them straight there. And I'm going to take my duct tape, work it on the inside first. Now, I don't suggest cutting duct tape with your teeth. Do as I say, not as I do. Dare I get out the chicken shears for that? Okay, so I'm just going to put this down. Try not to move my cover. So I've got it halfway on the book, halfway on my craft sheet. So this is a non-stick craft sheet, and I'll be able to lift it all up afterwards. Alright. So same thing. For me, I mean, the whole charm of making your own journal is it about, you know, it's just, it's about being a little bit wonky. So if it's not exactly perfect, only you're going to be able to tell, right? And, but I mean, if you're one of those people out there, you can absolutely do this on a cutting board, cutting mat, so that you can get it all nicey. So the fun thing about using duct tape as a binding like this is it's going to be super, super sturdy. Somebody's drinking glue? That is bad news. So 2 pieces of tape, and I have it overlapped here. Now I'm going to lift that up off my sheet. Oh, without, there we go. Without lifting it off the paper. Okay. And, it's wrinkled. I was just going to say, the best thing about duct tape is that it's super sticky, and when it sticks on itself, that's bad news. So what I'm going to do, and why I chose to do the inside first, is because it's going to cover up my little fold up here, right, when I put more tape on the front. So to leave a nice finish. Lots of drinking going on. Alright, so I'm going to fold up the top and the bottom. And hopefully, you know, at Michael's there's all different patterns and colors. And you can use wax paper, absolutely, great idea. Then you could just flip the whole piece of paper rather than trying to peel it off the mat. Alright, so I'm going to do the exact same thing on the front. So this time I'm going to try to line up the tape. Not going to try, I am going to line up the tape with the tape that I already put down so that you can't see it. Can't see the tape from underneath. I'm going to use my chicken shears backwards. Oh boy. Now, you know, Cray, last year they used to take a shot every time I said that's bad news. Hey, stitch and tweet, Susan. Okay, so same thing. Oh, I got one of my hairs there. So this time, again, I'm going to just line it up or cover the tape from the inside. These are some pretty sharp scissors, I'll tell you. Smurfs. Oh, Sharon must be watching now. Okay, so I've got 2 tapes down. So I got 4 pieces of tape. So again, I'm going to flip this over. Just peel it up. And again, so why I did it on the inside first. So the pattern, see where I've got the rough edges here? You kind of have a few of those rough edges from where you cut it. But the outside is pristine. So it's up to you depending on your binding or your preference. You can add another strip of tape completely down the middle, but I'm fine with that. So now you've got a real simple binding. So what I'm going to do, I also have some ribbon here, just some gold red ribbon. So I want to make, and this is all before we put on our inside cover, I want to make just a little tie off. I know on my other journal normally I was just putting a rubber band around it, but this journal I want to have I think it would be nice to have the little tied enclosure. So to hide those, we're gonna put it on the inside, underneath our ribbon, underneath the cover. We got leg. Hi, Joyce. Okay. So again, I'm a rebel. You can measure it if you want to. Um, but I'm just gonna put a little bit of two-faced tape there and stick my ribbon down. I think my book is going like this, like it's curved upwards. But hi, Heidi. So that'll hold the ribbons down. So quickly before I put this down, I'm going to ink my edges if I can find my black ink pad. Oh, this could be bad news. And I just take this is Ranger's Archival ink. It's just what I like to do. You absolutely don't have to ink your edges. You could paint your edges if you want to. You could leave them plain. It all depends on the look that you like. So this is important too when you think about this. Right now I have my book to you guys is upside down. So this is my cover, so I want my cover on my left. So you just kind of got to remember that here, especially if your paper has a pattern to it that is directional in any way. I always have to keep that in the back of your mind. Okay. Again, I'm just using cheap carpet tape. You can use your ATG gun, a tape runner, your score tape or your red line tape, whatever you got. Thank you, Teddy. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is make it even. So I cut it, I cut the paper 1/2 inch smaller than the book, so that means I got a 1/4 inch border around. And see how you can just cover it right up, and now your ribbon, your tie off there is nicely hidden. And easily hidden. Definitely would have might probably look nicer with the with just the plain black. Oh boy, I'll be okay. Plain black duct tape. Again, 1/4 inch. And so see how nice we wait to put the inside covers. It just nicely covers the part of the binding there. Yeah. So now, like I said, we can cut these, you know, to the same size afterwards if you'd like. Alright, so now the fun part. We're going to add our pages. So our pages are going to go in there. Now I'm getting myself, now it's going to be complicated because I've got two signatures this time. Last time I just used my crocodile and excuse me, punched it half an inch, excuse me, an inch in. This time it's going to be a little bit more, confusing is not the right word, but a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, guys? Because I'm putting two in there, it's going to be a little bit more tricky. So what I want to do is just, in my head, and this is crazy, I don't care if it's exactly even. Oh. Sorry, I'm reading some questions. How many pages do I have per signature? I have, one of them has 4 sheets of watercolor paper and 4 sheets of scrapbook paper, and the other one has 4 sheets of scrapbook paper and 3 sheets of watercolor paper. Have I been brave, Joyce? I'm confused. So I'm going to take my, if I can find it, cutting mat here. Have I been brave today? So I'm thinking of my space here in thirds. You know, so the first third, that's where I'm going to put my first signature, and then the second third. So for me, it's about a centimeter, or, you know, just over a quarter of an inch. But if it's wonky, it doesn't bother me a bit. So what I have is, and you know, the last time I did this, I made sure that it was all together with a binder clip. But what I'm going to use this time is a no joysage. This one was by Magic Scraps, but this is a Japanese screw punch, which is just a little bit easier. So that size, I should probably, I don't know if they make this particular brand anymore, and some Japanese screw punches can be pretty pricey, guys. This one has different tips on it, but they work wonderfully. If you can, so I'm just changing the size of the hole that's going to be punched out. If you don't have a Japanese screw punch, you can use your crocodile, you can use an awl, you can use just an old eyelet setter if you have one, and if you have the time. So the thing about the Japanese screw punch, and I'm just going to go right into the, and I'm just eyeballing just about an inch above, right in the middle here. Especially for my type of art journaling, because, and the thing about Japanese screw punch is you just, for some, it's got some crazy thing, mechanism that you just kind of, it doesn't want to go through my binding here. Yeah, right now. It's just so easy to drill. Like it does this weird, like, twisty stuff motion. But because, you know, it does some crazy thing, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on it, because as you're, you know, punching down, it's moving itself. I'm going to do a real simple, probably the simplest binding, where I'm just going to punch 2 holes. So I've got my 2 holes. It's gone all the way through the duct tape and everything. And I'm going to take some twine. Let's see. I'm going to cut the twine. I mean, you could use the basic pamphlet stitch with the 3 holes, but it's just amazing. You can do a quick YouTube search, video search for binding, especially the pamphlet stitch, and you can come up with a whole bunch of wonderful things. But I am just going to, so I went from the inside of the book out, and I poked some pretty big holes in this. Probably should have went one smaller. I'm going to flip it over. You could use ribbon rather than twine, but I'm going to put it pretty tight here. And I don't know what kind of knot this is, but I just, tied it once, and I'll do the same type of knot a second time. So you see how, maybe you can't see because it's a weird white thing. It's actually a little bit crooked, but we'll be okay. That's it. So I got one down. That's it. So easy, even I can do it. I am not a fancy bookbinder, that's for sure. But I just like to make my own little art journals here. So the same thing. Now I've got about 1 inch, and I'm going to put it right in the middle, in between where my chipboard is and that last signature. I'm going to hold that down. I'm going to put it 1 inch in, again cutting right into the center. Simon, you're not putting any laundry in, are you?
I'm getting the pillow wet.
Hi, Asha. You want to say hello? Hold on, let me punch this hole. Alright, so I got my 2 holes. I'm going to switch my camera for a second, and wait till you see my hair.
Hold on.
Safety starts with me. Everyone's saying hello, Simon. Alright, my girl.
Miss Conehead. Go Conehead.
Say hello. No, Susan, you don't. You can just use a regular awl or your crocodile if you have one. Say hello. Look at my big girl. Say, look at my tummy. Look at my tummy. Stop wiggling. Stop wiggling. Can you see her stitches? Oh, poor girl. So see how big she is? Nice and silver now. She's 10 pounds. Her hair, I think it's going to be this color permanent. This nice, this. Poor thing. Poor thing. Hey, kiss it. Oh, yeah. And I was saying, like I tweeted, her tail, see how it's always up? Like, when we first got her spay, we brought her home, her tail was down. I've never seen it down before. Say hello.
Hey, Conehead.
There's this sign. So anyways, don't start the washer and dryer while I'm on.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Alright, there's a little intermission for us all.
Oh.
Yeah, she's really light. She's pretty much very silver. I need to alter the cone. Joyce, that cone is going into the garbage. That's like a torture trap. Annie.
Ouch. Hey.
Welcome to our animal farm. Okay. So now I've cut the holes into the second one. I'll line them up here after we got Alright, let's find our twine. Same thing. And the twine I'm putting about twice the size of the binding. Because I like to have that tail. If you remember on this one, where I used some thicker twine, but I put, Dee Dee gave me this little charm. It's always fun to hang some of those things out. So again, real simple, going through. Is that one coming out the other side or what? Oh, there we go. Coming from the inside. Flipping it over. I mean, I know I hope it's not too frustrating for some of you guys where I don't have any measurements and it's all just kind of, but it's a journal, guys. Like, it's just, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can make it perfect. Like, look at my holes. Can't even, although you can't tell because of the crazy houndstooth pattern, but they're a little bit off. This one's under than that one, or you can measure it all if you wanted to. Good night, Barb. But, you know, it's your journal. You can decide how it looks. And the fun thing, this duct tape is like indestructible. It is absolutely no numbers. Just punch your holes, my friend, and sew it. And in fact, there's so much gap in between these two, I could probably add another little small signature. But once I start filling stuff, it's going to... Oh no! That's bad news. See, I got all distracted. No, you don't need a Japanese screw punch. That was just easy for me because I knew I was going through 4 sheets of pattern paper, and you can use a regular awl. You can use your crocodile to punch the holes. You can, if you have a real old eyelet setter, same type of thing. This is just like it's an eyelet setter. The tips are just like your old time eyelet setters, but it just has the screw motion. So lots of ways. In the first book that I made, I used my crocodile. Or your big bite, or whatever you got going on. Oh, you didn't see what's bad news? I wanted this to be my front cover. Like when I opened it, I wanted that to be the first page. I wanted this to be the first one. But look, I got this big space. But you know me. Oh, you know what would be fun? You know what I'm gonna do? I'll pull a joysage. The next time I go to Starbucks and get one of those paper bags, I can just put the paper bag as one thing. Yeah, of course I could untie it. It's not that hard, eh? It'll be okay. I'm stubborn like that. It was meant to be. So you could cut these short if you wanted to. You can barely see them here, but I'll probably attach a few things. I could have used ribbon to bind this rather than jute. Whatever you feel like. But how quick and simple is that? That's it. So now it's really wonky. The ribbon I chose doesn't quite go, my friends, with the black and white. So now we open it up. And it's just that simple. Oh boy. Uh-oh. I will have to untie it. See? Wasn't paying attention. I got all sidetracked because I put this in upside down. Yeah, we're gonna have to take it apart. I mean, how many times during this show have I said you have to watch the direction of what you're doing because some of your paper might be directional, and then I go and do the exact thing I was warning you about. Good times. But look at this fun stuff I just found. Look how thick it is. I might have to use this as some type of weird cord, but I think it's the perfect size. And it's kind of nicer than the twine. Okay. I'll just cut the twine and do it right. But here's the bad news. Because teach us what not to do. Thanks, Darcy. It's always the way. Because if I change it, follow me for a second. Because I didn't measure my holes, it's gonna be wonky. That's the downfall of not measuring the holes. Because if I flip it around, it's not going to line up properly, and my book will be. So now I've got to decide what's more important to me: this one sheet upside down, my poor reindeer's upside down, or the whole book being. Oh boy, bad news. The holes won't match, Kim, because I was terrible. I think. See, I should have. I should have drank today. I think that was my problem. I should have had a drink. Anyway, that's the only thing that's upside down. That'll give it some character. It'll make people look twice, eh? What the heck is that? I'm happy with it. Oh, I will absolutely. I believe, um, things doesn't have to be perfect for me. My poor drunk reindeer. All right. So, although I do like that cord, I still might change out the twine for the cord. I could just change that one sheet. Let's just change that one sheet. How not to make a journal with JournalArtista. No. Well, happy accidents, some people say that, but I call those things flopportunities. Things, darn it. And I know, I was just going to do this without flipping my sheet over. People are going to be yelling at me shortly. So I'm definitely going to have to rip the bottom off of that. Yeah, so I have this cord, but see how it's kind of frayed at the top there? So it's not going to go through the hole. Maybe if I fold it over. It's almost like a shoelace. It's kind of funny stuff. It won't go with this project. I could tape the ends or glue it and whatnot, but I will just use the twine. Approximately 2 lengths. My hole's just not quite big enough, Jamie, for that twine. And you can get fancy. I could have set eyelets into my binding, or into the duct tape. That's what's fun about making this type of quick journal, is that you can make it as fancy or as flopportunistic is this? Again, just tied it. Alright, so see that paper? See what I mean about, see how it's sticking out? Because I was terrible and I didn't measure. So all I'm going to do is do a nice ripped edge. And then people won't even, other than the hundreds of friends watching me and watching this recording, nobody will know that it wasn't on purpose, this ripped edge. Right? They'll be like, wow, that's a cool idea. She ripped the edge of that piece of paper. Have a great night, Craig. Thanks for coming. Alright. I really like it. Real simple. Yeah, this is, like I said, I dare not call it a December daily. But it's definitely a journal for December. I can put some receipts in and all the things that we do. Hopefully we'll get to see Twilight soon. Yeah, just with a nice little ribbon, and you can tie it shut rather than using the a rubber band like I normally bind it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's find, should put it on that page. Alright, so we're going to start out with, because I went watercolor paper, a sheet of watercolor paper, a sheet of pattern paper, a sheet of watercolor paper. This is watercolor paper, this is pattern paper. So I'm going to gesso both of these to start off here. So I'm going to just use the De La Rowney cheap gesso. Yeah, like a December daily. It's just going to be what I'm going to do all my December journaling in here. Like I said, hope some, just like my travel, that was bad news. Just like my travel journal, kind of ephemera from the everyday life. Alright, let's find us a brush. So one of the fun things that I really liked about my travel journal was that I did a bunch of, wow, I was using my black paint from 2 Saturdays ago. This brush wasn't clean. So your gesso's not supposed to look like this. Anyways, was that I had some background pages already done. You know, if you just do some fun backgrounds, and then you can just add your stuff in as you go. So very important, important to me anyways, the way that I journal. Definitely have a good coat of gesso on the back of the pattern paper. Or some of you newer scrapbookers call it designer paper. I can't get used to it, my friends. I can't get used to calling scrapbook paper designer paper. And I truly suggest, if you want something white, you use a clean brush when you're putting gesso down. Oh boy. It's kind of the wintry gray look, that's for sure. And I like using my non-stick craft sheet here as a palette. I can just wipe it up. Alright. Heat gun. Welcome, wandering widget. Okay. Whew, my hands feeling numb just from using the heat gun. That's bad news. All right. Did I get the hiccups? I'm gonna do my first layer in black paint, actually. This is just really cheap, like dollar store cheap craft paint. Find another brush here. So I'll probably spend some time tomorrow working on some backgrounds. If you want to protect your pretty cover, you can use some wax paper in between your pages. It is very stinky paint, Linda. It smells like fish. It's just terrible. I don't know why. I don't know why this craft paint smells like fish, but it does. See, look, I just got some black paint there. But why must they make craft paint that smells like fish? I must say, even with Gesso, this particular brand of craft paint doesn't like, you have to use a lot of it. It doesn't like to move very well. I mean, for this technique, you can use any color of paint that you want on the bottom. And I'm not going to worry about completely covering it. Oh, I'm telling you, my hands. Just gotta shake them out. Heat gun. Yeah, see, the gray gesso didn't matter one bit, huh? Okay, let's find us a stencil. What do we want to use today? I don't need to use a 12 by 12 stencil. I want an all over pattern. I think I will have to use this one. This is a Julie Faye Van Balzer design. She's kind of got it. She's kind of. She's got two that are chevrony. Chevrony, you know. So she has the one that looks like this, which you can't see. And then this one. So you see they're slightly different. But I think I want to use this one. This one kind of reminds me of trees. So anyways, I thought this technique or this idea for some reason just like dawned on me today like a I was just like, how the heck did I not think of that before? So what I'm going to use is my folk art crackle medium through the stencil, and then we're going to paint on top. So the only part, theoretically, so I haven't tried this or seen it done, and it could be another opportunity, but my hope is that when I apply this through the stencil, my crackle medium, and then I add the next color on top, you'll be able to see the crackle only through the stencil. This is herringbone. Thanks, Karen. If you like these, I know Karen's shop, Art House. Is it the Art House Studio, Karen? My links are off, but you can type it out. Art House Studio. She has lots of stencils, including her own designs through the Crafters Workshop, which are wonderful. Alrighty, okay. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. I'm confident on this one. And so some of you that are new to my show, there's been lots of times, lots of techniques that I think are gonna work and don't, and then lots of things that just randomly happen that I don't know how. So it's really funny. It is Art House Studio, but I'm not sure if it's Art House Studio or the Art House Studio. So these are the Martha Stewart foamy things. She calls them foam pouncers rather than spouncers. And so it's a plastic handle, and then look at like it's. So I'm hoping she'll eventually maybe just sell refills. So we're gonna try them out, comparing to the spouncers from. So here I have some. You probably can't see it, but a little bit of the crackle medium there. I'm going to take my pouncer, not spouncer, and I'm going to put it through, pounce it through the stencil. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. Although pouncing it on seems to add a lot of bubbles to the crackle medium. I think what I'm going to have to try to do is maybe I'll put it on with a brush on this side to see if it makes any difference. I think the hardest thing is trying to hold my stencil down. Yeah, the brush definitely, I'm not seeing any bubbles. And I'm just going to clean my stencil with a baby wipe, and I'm pretty sure it's going to take it off. Alright, so we got it on one side. Jamie, they're by Martha Stewart, new foam pouncers. So they're like my wooden, see my wooden spouncers that I use are frustrating because kind of the wood gets all mucky. So that's why I wanted to try the Martha Stewart ones, which I think will be better with paint. But this crackle medium, and this is just the folk art kind, this isn't any fancy, you know, artist grade quality or whatnot, but I'm sure you could use that if you wanted to. Um, it, it was looking like, it wasn't looking, it was putting some air bubbles in it. So, so I'm going to a brush instead. But the Martha Stewart ones were actually cheaper than the ones made by Plaid sponsors. Okay, so it's a little bit with a brush. Putting it on a brush is a little bit. See, it kind of goes underneath and stuff, but I still think it'll be wonderful. All right, I got all this stuff on here. Let's see something. Let's find a page that has a whole bunch of paint. Let's see how this works. So I'm using, because there was a whole bunch of the crackle medium on the stencil when I was brushing it. So I'm going to see if I can transfer it. It might not be enough crackle medium to affect anything. Alright, I'm going to put this down for a second and find my archer. I got some crackle medium there, so let's see. I've been working this random page, so let's just add some to it. I don't like to waste anything, so. And lots of times, because I do this, because I find another journal or flip over a page or whatnot, that's how I come up with different things. Alright. Although, like I said, this crackle medium through a stencil just kind of popped into my brain. It's really weird. When I am just about to fall asleep, that's when I get the most ideas. That's when things start going off in my head. It's really strange. Then I have to get up and try to find something to write on. Okay, so I'm just using a baby wipe to clean this. Crackle medium everywhere. So it's not the it may not be the cleanest of techniques. Alright, it's pretty clean. Rose is gonna... Night, Rose. Little bit of Pepsi for me. Alright. For some reason, and I don't know if it matters or not, but I like to leave my crackle medium to dry naturally. But I am going to heat this with my heat gun. And I'm just going to focus on making sure that I'm constantly moving the heat gun. My pouncer, where did it go? What did I do with it? Oh, it's right here. Yes, that would be a good idea, eh, Carrie? Thank you for reminding me. Hi, Janet. We haven't ate yet. It's going to be terrible. We're going to have I bought some fresh pasta and Alfredo sauce, so we'll be eating at like 11:30 at night. Alright, heat gun. I'm just gonna make sure my heat gun's constantly moving. I'm not staying in one spot for very long. There are some thick parts on this. I am starving. Well, I had a nap today, so really, I'll probably end up staying up late. A bunch of coffee and a nap, so. Alright, so we're pretty much dry. You can kind of see where it's shiny. So I'm going to take some red craft paint. This happens to be Americana Berry Red. Also happens to be right beside me, and that's why I'm using it. But this is just the cheap folk art crackle medium. Doesn't have to be, you know, the fancy artist grade kind. Alright, so now all I'm going to do is put the color of choice on top and cross our fingers that it works. Nightly. You can use some fancy stuff. Like I said, you can use Liquitex, Golden. There's lots of different crackle mediums, and then there's crackle pastes as well that you can get, so you can get the texture as well. Karen sells this wonderful stuff at the Art House Studio. This is called by Viva Crackling Color, and it's thick. I'll show you that in a page here in a second that I did. So that's already colored, and like I said, it's a nice thick texture. So we're just making a background that we're going to build off of, right? There's going to be other layers and maybe some personal ephemera and that type of thing on top of it. And as you notice, I'm not covering the entire thing with paint. You absolutely can. I kind of like the rough look where it's not completely. Like I said, so we're just going to put this on. Maybe I'll make this the Twilight one. Oh, I can add some of that Die Cuts with a View DCWV bitten paper. That would be nice. Some roses. That would be perfect because I truly plan to see Twilight this December. Okay, so we got a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit, I know the red's looking funny on the screen here. And we are going to put that to the side and cross our fingers. Okay, so it's dry over on this side as well. Remember, this was the top of the stencil. So it might not work because it might not have enough crackle medium, but we shall see what happens. I'm going to leave that to the side. So still, let me check if we're still recording because I will be not happy. Uh-oh. Lisa's here? Hi, Lisa. I have Mod Podge. Okay, we're still recording. Wow, it's only an hour and 20 minutes. So, I mean, that art journal only takes about an hour to do, and that's with me yapping, right? Through it the entire time. That's me, if you weren't yapping, or if you weren't making the flopportunities, it might go easier. So I also have some crackling medium on there, so I want to be careful. And I wanted to show you that Croco stuff. I put a very light coat on this page. Let's see if you can see it. Sorry for the shadow there. So that's why it didn't crack all over, only in like the thicker spots, which I really like. I know it's a weird angle. Hopefully you can see it better there. But what's fun is that it can be as thick or as thin as you want. And when you have that thinner coat, you know, it doesn't... Everybody at work makes fun of me now that it's winter and I say coat. They're like, a what? My coat! Coat! You have a coat? It's cracking! I'm just gonna stare at that now. Now it's like, okay, I want it to crack. Come on, crack. It's just the accent, Kim. I can't get rid of the Minneapolis. Oh my goodness, I got the hiccups. Of that, the accent. I picked it up in the Midwest. Thanks, Karen. I was thinking of... Canastodian. That's a great idea, Sunset Cabin. She's saying, sounds like you need to design a bedtime idea journal and hang on the bedpost with a place for you to pencil. Because that's... When I get weird technique ideas, it's always just before I'm about to fall asleep. Yeah, Karen, I spent almost 2 years in the Midwest. Germantown, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and in North Tonawanda, which is not in the Midwest, but in New York there. And I just can't shake the accent. It's been years. Years. I say it like the... I took a Tim Holtz class back in 2004, 2003 with Club Scrap. Absolutely wonderful. Alright. It's starting to crack. I may not have put a thick enough coat of the red acrylic paint on top. So I don't know, should we take a break? I don't know what to do. I'm all antsy about my stuff cracking over here. Process? We all say process. There was a time that I was broken of that. I would, because they used to make fun of me so much in the U.S. saying process that finally they broke me, and so I started saying process. But yeah, Karen has a wonderful store in Kitchener. I always say process. Like, how do you say proceed? You don't say proceed, right? You say proceed. Joyce is going to get mad at me here shortly. So it's starting to crack. It's starting. You can see? Or not? You can see shining. That's bad news. I know, we just tease each other. It's too shiny. You've seen the glare. Just starting. It doesn't like that red paint, eh? Some process. It's like crazy, eh? It's like I have no patience when it comes to this type of stuff. I'm like, okay, crack already. Probably didn't do a thick enough coat of paint, but it's gonna work. Definitely gonna have some fun playing around with that idea. I'm tempted to use my heat gun, but I don't know if the heat gun will mess up my cracking. Maybe it won't crack as much if I use my heat gun. Mickey, my ankle, well, every once in a while I get a sharp pain. It still aches every day, but it's so, I think I said in the last stream, it still swells every day. I mean, not as crazy like it used to, right? But not, my whole foot doesn't swell, but it still swells. It now still just swells around my ankle. Um, it still hurts to walk. Like, we walked to the grocery store today, and we went to shop. We went to the drugstore. We went to the pet store, and we had to go to the grocery store. And I was dying. And we had to take a cab back. So it doesn't help that I'm really overweight. That's the truth of the matter, right? So, Sky's art. This part is, this one was watercolor paper, and this is that's why it's a little bit wrinkly. This side happened to be the scrapbook pattern paper. That it'll make it a little bit more wonky, but that's why I put the gesso down first to make sure that it would be okay. No, you're welcome. Thanks for the compliment. Okay, I'm gonna be a rebel and try to use my heat gun because I'm just too darn excited to see if this is gonna work. Heat gun. Yeah, heat down on the crackle's not going so well. So, it's working a little bit. So two things I could, it's definitely working over here where I have more paint. So, definitely didn't put enough paint on top of it, I'd say. And maybe not enough of the medium. Or maybe I'm just too... You need lots of paint on crackle. What would happen if I put... Yeah, it's too late. I already cracked it. I can't be patient. I'm dying. I want to see... I want to see if it works. We can try it on a different... let's see. I also got the Joyce's journal over here. I don't know if I have anything that's already painted that I could add to. Oh, I don't have to use that because I put some on here. This is not dry though. See, it might not have helped either that because I used a heat gun on it. Right, Jamie? Yeah, I'm crackling should not be done on stream. That's all I want to do. Welcome, Warden. You really want to use clear gesso if you're using scrapbook paper. Trying to think of all my stuff's down. My other journal's downstairs. Because what happens if you don't gesso it, it will sink right into the paper. So adding clear gesso to pattern paper will help it move around better, as well as you'll keep the true look of it, if that makes sense. You'll get to see the true pattern. I've used in more than one recording, I've used clear gesso on pattern paper. I think even you know, 3 or 4 times ago on a stencil Saturday. But yeah. Good night, Karen. Yeah, sorry about that, Warden. We're waiting for this to crackle, which is an interesting process. Anyway, we did make a little journal tonight. This is for my December... Oop, doesn't like the white. So I did make a little journal. It's recorded, took about an hour. Now we're doing some backgrounds. I added some... Ooh, my knee hurts. I added some crackle medium and I'm just waiting for it to crackle. But we're experimenting to see how using crackle medium works with stencils. And so far, so good. And now we're just waiting. This is boring. There we go. But I did, one fun thing about these type of things, look what I found. Again, this is an old fancy pants, maybe not too old, a couple years old anyways, called Arctic Chill. 2008. But it's got all these cute journaling spots that I can add. Although it's got a whole bunch of snowflakes. So get out the chicken cutters. So we probably won't cut those out because what if we don't have snow? Then I won't use them. But you know why I feel weird? Is because all of my journals that I have around me, I have 3 current ones close to me right now. They all have crackled medium on them, so I can't touch it. I can't touch it. This didn't crackle at all. There wasn't enough crackle medium on the other side of that stencil. So let's see what we got going on around here. So I'm just going to play in this, this is one of the Dee journals that you can get on Etsy. Although actually I don't think I'm not sure if she has one of the big fold-out journals right now there. But I like to use scraps in this one. Scraps and, oh my goodness, it hurts my hand just to squeeze this bottle. Simon told me I'm not allowed to knit for a while. I don't think it was the knitting that caused it. It was doing something at work. But the knitting didn't help it. I know, Sharon. I just gotta do something. I just can't. Plus, I gotta take my mind off my the crackle over there, because all I want to do is check on it. Is it crackling yet? Is it crackling? Is it done yet? No. No, it's just because I have not physically worked on a machine in, oh man, when did I leave the floor? I haven't operated in about 5 years, so it's just using muscles that I haven't used in a while. And then, because that wasn't good enough, then I came home and knitted? Is that proper? I came home and knit for like 3 hours in front of the TV. Alright, so I'm going to add some clear gesso to this, just to show you how it... Definitely didn't put enough red paint on. You're welcome, Teddy. Excuse me for the noise. I'm shaking the clear gesso. Oh, I can't open it. That's going to hurt my hands more. Well, there thwarts that. I'm going to use some white one, I guess. Peg still. Peggy! Try to clean my brush here. That's what I love though about art journaling. I know I've said it 100 times, but you know, trying these techniques in your art journal, for me anyways, is safe. just feel so safe, and I'm more likely to do it. So probably learning from for next time with this crackle technique is that I need a little bit more crackle medium and definitely more paint on top of it. Definitely a thicker coat of paint on top of that. So I'm just adding some gesso. Hi, Kathleen. Good night, Mo. Thanks so much for coming. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, every Wednesday and Saturday nights at 9:30. I know it hasn't been for the past couple 3 weeks, but we're back to normal now. So put a little bit of gesso. I think we got about all the cracks we're gonna get over here. Paint's dry, so not quite what I was going for, but let's see if you can see it. So the technique is definitely there. It's getting the right amount of crackle medium and the right amount of paint on top, and not using red so that you guys will be able to see it. It does, my camera definitely does not like the red and black. That is for sure. So right here where I had the most paint is where you see it the most, but or where you can't see it depending on your angle. So I didn't put a thick enough coat of the red on. There we go. And you guys can't see the crackle at all, but so I definitely didn't put a thick enough coat of the red, and maybe not a thick enough coat of the crackle medium. I probably should have let the crackle medium air dry and not use a heat gun. So a couple different things I'm gonna try next time. So let's see what we got. I'm gonna add some Sea Breeze. This is Americana. Let's just scrape that with a palette knife, shall we? And this, like I said, this is where it can get fun. It's just about creating a background, you know, so you can add your daily stuff to it later. You know, when I made my travel journal, the parts that didn't record, we did about, I think we did 4 different backgrounds on that. So it's totally up to you how many, you wanna start with. And of course, when I worked in the journal while I was away, I added more layers on top of that. But it was great to have that little bit of a starter. So I'm going to wait a couple of seconds here, and I'm going to find a baby wipe that's clean. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to perfect this technique and then I'll do a YouTube video on it. But I'm pretty much close to winding down. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. I'm so glad to see you all again, and definitely see some new people. I didn't wait long enough to do that. I'll wait a couple more seconds. Yeah, I'm gonna go and eat dinner at 11 o'clock at night. It's wonderful. Although Simon probably already ate. Glad you guys got to see Asha, poor girl. She'll be back to her regular self. Well, she's pretty much back to her regular self now. You saw how wiggly she was. This is just a baby wipe, guys. But less than a week and she'll get that crazy cone off anyway. But again, thank you so much, everyone. I've missed you all. I am glad to see that you are still around. And alright, Dale. 11 o'clock is a great time for dinner. Anyways, guys, make your own little art journal. Again, you can be as neat or as crazy wonky as me. And I'm going to have so much fun filling this and adding bits of my daily stuff throughout December. So I'll definitely see you guys on Wednesday. Check me out over on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Search JournalArtista, you can find me all over. And thanks again. Night, everyone.